The devil is smarter than us. Beware of our pride, which lets us believe that we will be able to dominate him. So let's see how he operates so that we can protect ourselves from his attacks and always remain in the serenity of God's grace. The devil seeks to defeat God's plan of love. I was created out of love for love. I am called to join God in eternal bliss. How does the devil prevent this, if not by trying to lead me into hell forever? His usual job is temptation, to get me to separate myself from God through sin. If he can push me to repeat the same type of sin, I fall into a vice. If I lose heart and end up no longer regretting the sin and the death that comes with being completely turned away from God, the devil really has reason to hope for my damnation. He cannot kill me, but he can seek to direct me towards risky behavior, and, by successive discouragement, possibly push me to suicide. This is his usual modus operandi. We speak of an extraordinary fight if there is evil domination in the presence of an accumulation of phenomena that are both unpleasant and irrational. These phenomena can affect one or the other of the material, financial, professional, or administrative spheres of our life, as well as the physical, psychic, spiritual, or relational spheres, especially if we can identify a beginning, a moment when it all started. This domination may be more or less strong and does not necessarily require the use of an exorcist priest. However, it is good to talk to a priest you know well, a confessor, spiritual guide, or parish priest. There are also stronger demon attacks which are subject to the ministry of the exorcist, who work in harmony with psychologists and doctors. In the specific vocabulary we use, there appear somewhat strange words: infestation, harassment, obsession, and possession. Let's briefly introduce them in ascending order of evil attacks. We talk about infestation in two ways. It's first and foremost a place where an evil spirit resides. An entire building, a house, an apartment, or even just a room. This spirit torments the person who frequents this place by manifesting one of the senses: sight, hearing, smell. By moving objects, by causing nightmares. This victim claims to feel presences at home which are malicious and lives in fear. We also talk about an infestation when a person is attacked by the devil in a way that is out of the ordinary, but when the exorcist is as yet unclear as to the nature of the attack, he does not yet know what it is all about, and so makes a first prudential judgment. We talk about vexation when we see that the devil physically attacks the victim from the outside, like blows to the body with bruises, scratches, or even touches that could be pleasant in another context, and which are then painfully endured because they are intrusive and not consented to. We talk about obsession when the devil acts as from inside the person's mind, through thoughts, words, images, opposed to such virtue: charity, trust in God, chastity, repeatedly. We speak of possession if the body and the sensitive life of the victim are at certain times controlled by the devil, to make him suffer physically and morally. It is the most advanced stage of diabolic domination, and it is very nuanced from person to person. The seventh petition of the Our Father does not make us ask to be free of temptation, but does not succumb to it. There will always be temptations, and the grace of God will always be there if we make good use of it. There will be no sin. On the contrary, we will be more experienced and stronger in combat, therefore closer to the Lord and better protected. As far as the demon's extraordinary combat is concerned, not everyone is affected by it. There are indeed causes which, in general, have a link with occultism. Occultism may be categorized as divination and magic. Divination consists in seeking secret information, especially regarding the future, by using hidden powers, spiritualism, clairvoyance, mediumship, Ouija boards, automatic writing, tarot cards. Magic is a practice aimed at gaining the influence with hidden powers, to put them at one's service and obtain extraordinary power over one's neighbor. Both are, of course, prohibited by the Church, which wants our good and protects us from danger. Divination and magic are sins against the virtue of religion. One can become involved directly by putting oneself in contact with the occult world, or indirectly by being the victim of malevolence of others. To deliver us from diabolic domination, God gives us both natural and supernatural means. The Mass, the sacraments, confession, communion, reading the Bible, Eucharistic adoration, Marian devotion, the Rosary, the sacraments, blessing of the house, sacramentals, blessing of the house, holy water, sign of the cross, litanies of the saints, baptismal renunciations, visiting a sanctuary recognized by the Church, Lord's, Walsingham, and of course a prayer of deliverance, which any priest can undertake. If it is more serious, you will need to meet the exorcist of your diocese. Have a serious Christian life and avoid occultism. Certain occult domains are easily recognizable, while others are less recognizable. Notably, what is colloquially called white magic, that is to say, the domain of strange therapies. For example, hypnotists and fire healers, or even so-called energy therapies, which appear regularly on the health and well-being market. It is best to ask prudent and well-informed people of their views of any such approaches. Above all, have great confidence in God. Do not fall into the excessive fear that would make us see the devil everywhere, as happens in certain circles influenced by Pentecostalism. For example, when there is the vice of alcoholism, it is first and foremost because there are repeated sins of alcoholism. It is not a question of imagining that the cause is necessarily a spirit of alcoholism attached to the person, or else the consequence of a hypothetical transgeneral curse, as we hear a little too often. You can never pay enough attention to the subtle presence of the devil without being in constant worry. Let's be vigilant and take advantage of this pilgrimage to think about concrete resolutions. Let's move away from what can be dangerous for our soul so as not to leave too easy an opportunity for the devil. Let's arm ourselves with all that the Church makes available to us. There is no cost for confession, and we must always be prepared to get up again after a fall. God remains the strongest as long as we allow His grace to act.